everybody. It's Matt Michaels here. I'm with one of my favorite personalities in wrestling. You know him as Dirty Ron, Mikey Gordon. Mikey, how you doing, brother?
Matt, I'm doing great. Uh, it's a nice sunny day in beautiful Ocean Beach, 2 blocks from the ocean in San Diego. We are live here. Actually, I'm gonna turn the phone around. We're live here at the Fuck House, where Fist Combat, Get Fisted TV, and everything's filmed and performed here. We film Get Fisted TV here once a month. We just had comedy shows here last night. Live entertainment is back, and Dirty Ron's giving it to you.
I love it. Well, you were also one of the first to, give us live entertainment again. And you got shit on by by the what was it, LA Times, that just decided to go after you?
Okay, what happened with that is we were the first professional wrestling company in the world to have live audience professional wrestling shows after the shutdown about a year ago. And what we did is the comedy scene out here in San Diego started doing these drive-in comedy shows where we would just pick a parking lot, set up speakers, and start telling jokes, and nobody was really coming out. I mean, stores weren't even, open back up and stuff. So
right,
it was odd. What we did is we just did like a drive-in. We had like the radio transistor, the microphone was going through that, so you could just park up in your car, turn it on in your radio. It was honestly, it was the first time any of us had done anything in like a month and a half, and we all started doing comedy. And I was like, why don't we start doing this with wrestling? So we were the first company in the world to do it. That caught the attention of a lot of wrestling publications. I was interviewed by a couple writers for books and other projects, but the most interesting one was the LA Times, who came down as a fluff piece to show us doing live entertainment during the pandemic, spread out, masks on, the whole 9 yards. We were following all the rules as far as we knew.
Right.
And our logo for Fist Combat, I didn't even know this in 2008 when I made the logo. It's a black power fist. And I got that tattooed. It's tattooed on my leg, right there. There it is. Yeah. So I didn't know until a week before I got that tattooed on me in 2019 that it was black power fist. So LA Times is like, we're not going to talk about you trying to have fun entertainment when the world shut down. We're going to change the story and talk about you being a cultural appropriator using a black power fist. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, this dude won a Pulitzer Prize, Matt. He won a Pulitzer Prize, which is the highest regard you can get as a journalist. And he's using his power to fucking make race baiting issues,
Unbelievable, man.
What did you think when you saw that too? Because, I know you saw it all happening pretty much, as it was happening.
Well, you know what? And I think this is, being someone who has a background in comedy and has a background a little bit in pro wrestling. My first instinct is exactly what your instinct and the others who wanted to perform was. You have a safe outlet to do it. You had people in their cars. This is a great opportunity. And then this guy just decides to take this, I would say, because of the fact of what was going on with Black Lives Matter.
Absolutely.
And just totally, it's just, oh man, sometimes the best entertainment are those people who have the passion to fucking do it just because you want to perform and you want to have a good time. And it makes us feel good as performers, right?
Right.
So it's great to get the attention, but why the fuck would you try to find any other kind of story other than, hey, look, these guys are trying to persevere and do their art form in a time where it's really hard. No one else is doing it yet. And
straight up, man. Hey,
yeah,
this.
You got screwed.
This, that people do business to make money, to turn a profit, right? In 2019,
right.
Fist Combat ran 33 live shows, and they all profited. They all profited very, pretty well. 2020, I ran like 12 shows. I didn't make a dime. Like putting in all that time, work, and energy, and I don't pay myself on most of those shows. We lost money without paying myself, and it's not here. I'm not here to talk about the money. Then that's just it. That's it. We were putting the shows on because we wanted to entertain people. We wanted to put on a show when there were no other shows going on, and that's kind of what we're doing here at the Fuck House, the funny underground comedy house. That it's a small venue. We hold 50, 60 people. It's nice and spread out. But we're doing shows. Like fuck it. Like, hey man, people out there getting vaccinated, people out there smart, and I don't want this to become like, some conspiracy theory conversation, but like, hey man, world's got to go on eventually. And, if you're sick, stay home. If you want to go out and have a good time, there's people out there providing entertainment.
It's a great point. If you're sick, stay home.
I thought that was a rule forever.
Right. When you were a kid and you got sick, could you go to school unless your parents forced you to go to school? But, no, you stayed home. But, it's just like we lost our collective minds on that philosophy of if you don't feel well, don't go do anything. But
without a doubt, we're out here just making entertainment. I don't care if there's 5 or 500,000 people listening to the 20 plus podcasts I've done over the past 2 weeks, because that's what I'm coming out here to promote. And I know we were going to get there, but that's what I'm here to promote is a pro wrestling movie. Is that I've jumped into I'm 37 years old. I've been a pro wrestler for on and off going on 21 years now. And I've been a promoter for going on and off 14 years. So, I jump into things when I'm not totally prepared all the time, and hell, I'll figure it out as we go. And that's what we did here with this Pro Rasslin Movie. It's called a Pro Rasslin Movie, The Legend of Dirty Ron. We've got over 20 current and former pro wrestlers in it, from Rob Van Dam, Effy, Katie Forbes, Victoria, Matt Seidel, Mecca Wolf, all the way down the line. Miranda Alizé's in there. Tommy Chong is going to be doing a cameo. So, we came into this thing, and Matt, this is that in wrestling, we're accustomed to a certain setup and production value. For instance, PWG had the house lights on and a fucking curtain over a doorway for their entranceway, versus WWE with multi-million-dollar setups. So in the independent wrestling world, especially, we're accustomed to a certain production level. So when Pablo and I started this film, we started with about a $10,000 to $15,000 budget. I was going to pay for the whole thing, and I did. And it came to the point to where, hey, do we want to make this ready for Fight TV, or do we want to make this ready for Netflix? And we started adding more and more production people, because in indie wrestling, you set up a camera, set up a couple lights, you shoot it, and who cares what it looks like? We'll edit it, whatever, but whatever. It's not WWE quality. So, when we were going in there doing that, we were like, all right, well, you got to shoot all these opposite angles, like the comedy in film is caught in the close-up, you see all my emotions right here, like you're not seeing a whole lot of comedy back here, you know what I'm saying? So getting all those angles, setting up lighting, all that stuff, like our few days on set that we thought we could film a full 80-minute full feature stoner comedy, turned out to we only have half of that done, probably about half of that done. So I've spent almost nearly my life savings, around $50,000. It went from a $10,000 project to now I'm in almost 50, and we're not done. So we're trying to raise another 50, and we're going on every podcast possible. We're talking to everybody possible, letting them know, hey man, we just need 5,000 pro wrestling fans to give $10. That's it. And we're nowhere near what we thought we'd be here at the end of 2 weeks with our goal. And we're looking at an alternative funding still. But no matter whether we hit that goal or not, Matt, we're gonna fucking finish this film, because this isn't just one wrestling film. This is hopefully going to be a whole new avenue for wrestlers to showcase their talents outside of the wrestling ring.
Yeah, that's one of the most intriguing qualities, because if you think about it, the opportunity for wrestlers to be performers in any other art form is very few and far between, right? Everyone kind of gets literally headlocked into, you're a wrestler, that's what you do, that's it.
Typecast.
But exactly, yeah. And the funniest thing about it is that there is so much more. Like, if you sit down and when you talk to Rob, RVD is such a great fucking fascinating person.
Oh yeah.
And he brings that to what he does. And to have him in a film like this, that's fabulous, And some of the other people you mentioned, like Victoria, she didn't really know me very well, but we were at UPW at the same time. And I love her. She's such a sweetheart.
Oh, dude, the greatest.
Yeah, it's such a great opportunity to, as fans, get a chance to put a little investment in. And I know you got like little tiers, where people can invest X and then you'll get X back. And I think that as fans, this is something that most people don't get the opportunity to do. Most times you just turn on Netflix and you scroll through and you find what you want to watch. Here, you get the perspective of, hey, this is something I would like to see. If I put $10 in, dude, $10, that's less than you fucking get charged to go to AMC or some big movie chain. You've just made an investment to help, make something that you want to see. And I think that's awesome.
Here was the issue too, is that I've talked to a lot of wrestlers over my time, and they are very talented people. As pro wrestlers, we perform comedy, action, drama, stunt, improv, all in one take with an audience 360 degrees around us, all in our fancy underwear, throwing around other sweaty 300-pound dudes. So, and to be able to think on your feet, protect somebody else's life, protect your own life, put on a show, interact with people, think on the fly. One move doesn't go well. Okay, not only what do I got to do next, what do I got to do to get myself back in the same spot where I was just supposed to be? That takes a lot, but there's not a whole lot of opportunities for wrestlers to entertain outside of wrestling. And it's because of what you said. It's because of that typecast thing. So it was important to us, extremely important to us, that not only did we get wrestlers that are extremely entertaining, but all wrestlers that are a part of this project made a name for themselves outside of a major company. Rob Van Dam made himself a major name outside of a company. Victoria did bodybuilding before she was in this stuff. Yep. Katie Forbes does her stuff outside of a major company. Matt Seidel, we started backyard wrestling together 21 years ago. I've known this kid forever. He made a name for himself on the independent scene. That was very important to me. Effy refuses to go to some major league wrestling because he knows the value of connecting with an audience and getting them to enjoy you as we are as wrestlers. However, he isn't blinded by this facade of you need to be in a company in order to get pushed. No, you need to have drive. You need to have some chutzpah, as my mom would say. You need to put yourself out there. You need to invest in yourself, and you can't be scared to fail. Matt, I have failed a million times, and if this Indiegogo is 1,000,001, oh well. But you know what? If it's not, something else will be 1,000,001. I'm gonna fail again, and that's okay. To make mistakes is okay. It's fine. If you make those mistakes into bad habits, that's not okay. But I think that's what myself, the whole crew, we went into this with how much of a budget? Where are we at now? We're reshifting every day, waking up, new plan. What do we got to do? How do we respond to this? And it's driving me insane, to tell you the truth, but it's a good insane. It's an insane I'm comfortable with.
Well, and that's the fascinating thing too, because like you said, when you started doing promotion, doing Fist, the shit you learn when you go from the one side to the other side. Holy shit, dude. And you're finding that out now because, like you said, every day you're waking up and there's like 50 million different things, just moving pieces all the time. And it's fucking phenomenal that, A, it's driving you insane, but B, you're finding the comfort in knowing that, like, if would it not just suck if you just kind of didn't have the outlet or opportunity to do something? You took the bull by the horns and jump straight in. And it's fucking great. And it's fucking terrifying too. I know.
Oh, dude. Hey, this is the first time I'm going to admit this on any interview. It took me to yesterday, straight up, breaking down in front of the mirror, sitting there in front of myself. And I was just like, hey, man, you've gotten yourself this far, but it's scary. I'm 37 years old. I've saved up enough money and have been able to not have to have a real job for the last 12 years. And that's amazing. But at the same time, I've always had a plan. I've always been financially stable enough to where I've never had a loan. I've never had a credit card. I've paid cash for everything I've ever done, ever. Straight up. I never got a student loan, even though I went to college for a few years. I did all that stuff. I'm not bragging, but it was always very important to me to not ask for something that I didn't already have. I don't ask for things. I don't ask for favors. Like I'll go out there and make my own opportunities, because ultimately, I think that's most entertainers are trying to do that. Most entertainers are trying to be self-sufficient. They're trying to be out there. They're trying to do all these things, but then they see an easy outlet like, oh, I got to get signed. Oh, I get a record deal. Okay, well, you get a record deal, but what do you think that means? Do you think those people with all that money are going to get less money now? No. If those artists, those wrestlers, those rappers, those musicians, those comedians, any of that stuff, if they have the talent they do, and they just put a little bit more on the extra on the drive, they could have created something for themselves. However, that shit is so scary. You can fail. It's so easy not to put yourself out there, not to be exposed. But you know what? The people that do that's what's so inspiring to me, because I got haters. I got, people that, oh, you're a dipshit, you're an asshole, you're a cocky prick, you're a fucking, you flex on people, whatever the fuck. And they're all true. But But the thing about it is that you got to go out there. You got to believe in yourself, and you got to just keep looking forward, because no matter what, somebody's going to have an opinion about what you're doing if you're doing something. And yesterday somebody comes up to me and goes, "Hey, did you hear so and so were talking shit about you?" And I was like, "Now, if we're going to sit here and talk about who's saying something about me, we're going to be here all fucking day." And that's not cocky or conceited, man. That's just, if you're going to take your time to listen to what other people's opinions you don't give a shit about, you're going to fucking waste a lot of time and energy. And I ain't got time for that shit anymore.
And it's a fascinating point. I've had experience, in certain projects that I've done where it's been a global thing that's been put on YouTube, to the point where I'll every once in a while just kind of go back to watch this, to not even watch the video, but to just look at some of the comments and some of the just unbelievably nasty things that people will say. They don't know who you are.
Right.
You don't understand the circumstances of why you're doing it or how you got the job, but they're going to be the first to say shit because they're not doing it.
Right.
And that's the whole thing. When people can't do, they get mad. And when they get mad, exactly.
And, honestly, like, without sounding like a conceited prick, this is probably the fifth time I've already said that phrase on this podcast already, but, like, it's when people see people doing things that they tried and failed, or it gives them comfort. It gives people comfort to, like, wallow in misery together. They go, "Oh, my life sucks. This shit happens to me. Oh, man, I hate to say victim, but oh, woe is me. Like, the world's so tough." It's like, yeah, the world's tough. You think it's just tough for you? It's fucking tough for everybody. Fucking jump your ass out there, fucking jump back into the tank and go get your dick wet, man. Like, you're gonna get fucked. It's just how hard or soft are you gonna get fucked, and how much are you gonna fuck back? So, that I think that's life. And I've got myself to the point to where, I'm just going to keep trucking, man. I'm just going to keep doing this shit. Like, whatever it is, fucking on the movie. The funding doesn't work, I'll figure out another way to get the funding. I figured out a way to run wrestling shows during a worldwide pandemic. I figured out a way to keep comedy going during a worldwide pandemic. And I'm not a genius. I'm just copying what other people are doing. But that's always what I've seen was the case, is that if you find something you want to do, All you got to do is look at successful people that done it and fucking copy them, not mimic them. You can't tell the same jokes Joe Rogan does, but hey, man, try a podcast. You know, Joe Rogan's got like, you know, what, got $100 million for his podcast, you know, Netflix specials, all this shit, right? You know, good on him, but he took chances. He went out there and made that shit happen. But you know, you don't hear about Joe Rogan's failed projects, because I'm sure there's many, you know, like, and it's so easy to look at somebody successful and go, oh, they're successful because they got lucky. Oh, like they're you know, whatever, they're rich, they're hot. Yeah, sure. But you know the work that they put in to do that shit? Tons, you know, and
yeah,
all you gotta do, keep trucking.
Well, you know, and that's a great point. Joe Rogan, he did fail in a lot of things and
he got banned from the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
One of the reasons he started his podcast is because he chewed out Carlos Mencia and got banned from the Comedy Store. Yeah. Joe fucking Rogan. They said at the Comedy Store, they said, get the fuck out of here. Don't ever come back. It's 2007. Fuck off. And what did he do? He goes, I'll be all right. And then fucking got himself the biggest podcast in the world, $100 million, a full-time studio, and a comedy club in Texas. Like, fucking, you know what he said? He said, oh, you're going to put a roadblock in it? Well, I'm a solution-finding motherfucker. So put that roadblock up in there, and I'm going to find a way. Do I got to go over it, around to the left, around to the right? Do I got to dig under it? Do I got to bust through it? What do I got to do? And that's what I am. You know, I'm a solution motherfucker. Throw a roadblock, please. I love roadblocks. You know, fucking gives me something to do.
What role for you have you felt that Pablo has played in terms of joining you in this, you know, vision? How important has he been to being able to flush out not only the story and the script, but also to be there to solve problems that you guys have encountered? And you know, at this point, it's, you know, you can say director, but director and producers, you know, you guys are wearing like 19 hats. How valuable has he been?
Don't make me tear up. Straight up, so I'm always looking at what's next, you know, bounced into comedy, bounced into fucking promoting, you know, taking a weed comedy show up to dispensaries up the North Coast or up the, you know, the West Coast and shit. And I was like, hey man, where can we take wrestling? And I got inspired by watching a lot of Blue Demon and El Santo movies. And I was like, why aren't indie wrestlers making shitty movies now? You know, like, why aren't we making Dolomite type movies? Like, fucking dude, like, how much does that cost to just get a camera and fucking tape some shitty fighting scenes? Like, that would be hilarious. What does Nick Gage do on a Wednesday? You know, like, what is Schlack doing on a Wednesday? Who is Stone Cold drinking beers with on a Tuesday? You know, like, so I got inspired. I wrote what I thought was a script. And I don't know shit about filming anything. I don't know how to turn on a camera. That's it. And so I knew Pablo from working with him on a couple projects. He's a fan of mine. I'm a fan of his. And, you know, we were acquaintances, and I came to him and I was like, hey man, I know you shoot shit. You're cool. From Louisiana. I dig a good hometown Cajun boy. And I was like, hey, what's up, man? Want to help me with this? And this was August of 2019. So we've basically been on the phone multiple hours almost every day. I'm probably more connected with him than I've been with anybody in my entire life for the last 2 years. And he took what I had made into the script, and then we kept adding more people. When I wrote the script, I wrote the characters, and then he turned it into what we thought was a Hollywood script. Turns out it wasn't. It was close, a lot closer than mine, but he took it and developed the story, definitely developed the story, developed some of the characters, and like, it was a humongous role on that. So, you know, so then obviously he's co-writer because he took my idea, created by, but it's written by us, you know, like, without a doubt, it's 50-50 on that. So he took him directing. He added a sound guy, lighting guy, director of photography, you know, started adding all these people, first assistant director, all that sort of stuff. And he added a couple of the cast members. But when I wrote the film, I wrote it with people in mind. I didn't audition anybody. I called them because I had their number and I said, hey, I got this fucking thing. You want to do it? So Pablo and I developed that, and then he got all the crew members. And that's when this started going from, hey, do you guys like, why are you guys shooting this like indie wrestling? Like that, that was the big divide, is that the crew was like, hey, this looks like a shitty movie. And we're like, yo, this is going to be the coolest fucking production indie wrestling fans have ever seen. They didn't understand that, you know? And you know, they're like, oh, like there's some things, you know, cinematography wise, like, and we were like, no. You don't get our audience. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these motherfuckers watch they pay $100 to go to a show with a curtain over a doorway and no lights, you know? So, you know, and we started adding that, and, you know, and so it just became such a big thing while we were on set, and we were just like, oh, like I don't know if you ever had a moment like this where you're just like you see all your hopes and dreams and everything like gone in like 2 seconds. Like your complete life changes like forever, because I was like, oh my God, this is starting to be a lot of my savings. Hopefully, you know, like we have to be done with this so I have a film. And then it kept more money, and it was like, fuck. And then here we are, and we're on set like day number 3, and we're like, there's no fucking way we're gonna get a film. So let's go out there with our happiest face on, finish this thing as best as we can, get what we can, put out a trailer, and see if the wrestling community will support it.
You know, the idea of the story, you know, the Dirty Ron character is one of my favorite takes on a wrestling character, because it's, you know, it's pop culture meets, you know, fucking backyard wrestling, you know, grungy. It's just fucking beautiful.
Thank you.
So when you thought about doing kind of the journey of the character of Dirty Ron, was there a sticking point where you're like, I need to, you know, because as a wrestler, you're entertaining with the motivation of, you know, going out there and winning your match, you know, or, you know, body slamming Andre the Giant for $10,000. You know, there's always something that your goal is there. But when you're looking at the journey of a character in a movie, wow, I mean, there's so much more that you have to kind of color in. Was it that you found that you didn't know about Dirty Ron before?
I mean, so here's what I found, honestly, is that I found I am Dirty Ron. Is that I was a wrestler for 14, 15 years, played several different characters, wrestled Braun Strowman once on Monday Night Raw. October 10th, 2016, 2-on-1 match. It was awesome. They let me talk on live TV. It's great. But, you know, being so many different characters that I thought were either funny or that were given to me, or that promoters were like, do this, do that. And I was like, you know, like, I never really sold merchandise. I didn't really connect with people because I don't know. I guess I really never felt it. And I didn't know that. I was just like, oh, cool. I'm a wrestler. I'm going out here. I'm doing moves. I get to go, hey, slap some hands, you know, but I didn't really see what wrestling could be as a business, because I was just an average wrestler, you know, but sure. I didn't understand how to translate who I was into being an entertainer. I thought I was having to be some sort of semi-serious wrestler, because in 2001, we still acted like it was real, you know, like, right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the vets were all like, oh, it's real, you know, like we grew up in the 80s and shit. Like, so it was this weird divide. So like, it took me a long time until I started running my own promotion on the reg, where I was, you know, we were running shows monthly, sometimes twice a month. In 2019, almost 3 shows a month. That I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna be on the show, so I get to make my own character. So I look in the mirror. I'm like, I kind of look like a shitty Ronald McDonald. So, you know, like, so I was like, all right, well, I'll be Dirty Ronald McDonald. I'll just hit people in the nuts. It was supposed to last for like 6 months, and I had already bought gear for a whole nother character. Like, I was ready to do something else, but it caught on with people, because I just come out and I'm like, yo, I'm fucked up on acid, and let's fucking rail some coke, and I'm here to do 3 things. Number 1, get fucked up. Number 2, fuck somebody up. And number 3, when I'm done with that, I'm fucking all your girlfriends, and at these 21 and up shows, I'm not throwing baby powder in my opponent's face. I'm throwing cocaine in their face. So, connecting with people like that, and it was like, I'm a fucking party monster MC. Like, this is who I am and who I've always been. I get to do this now with some face paint on. So to answer your story in the long version, I was like, all right, well, let's fill in this character. How am I Dirty Ron? Well, okay, I guess I was the mascot at the restaurant. Okay, well, my dad was the one that owned it. So I'm just Ron Jr. or Ron the Third, actually, because old McDonald, my grandpa, played by Tommy Chong, he owns the pot farm, E-I-E-I-O. So third generation McDonald, third generation Ron over here is fired because I'm fucking up and having fun. I beat the shit out of my manager. I beat the crap out of him outside the back of the restaurant. And this homeless guy who's living in the dumpster sees me beat the shit out of him. Well, he happens to be a former world heavyweight champion by the name of the Moo Moo Mauler, played by Rob Van Dam. So Van Dam sees me beat the shit out of my manager. He goes, "Hey kid, I can turn you into a wrestler." And I'm like, "Yo, fuck this, what wrestling? Like, I'm a rich kid that just got cut off, man. My life's fucked now. You think I'm gonna go do some frilly ass shit like that? Like, fuck that shit." He's like, "No, man, listen, you got potential, kid." So it's a Rocky story. He starts turning me into a wrestler. The world champion, played by Effy, needs a schmuck bag can of corn opponent, and they're like, "Hey, the fast food kid, he's starting to wrestle. Let's put him in there with it." So my first match ever as a wrestler is against the world champion, and the story goes from there. So I'm way out of my league. I'm way out of my element, and I have a lot of awesome wrestlers and comedians that are a part of this project that really believe in it.
When the phrase is used, it's a lot of times used in something that really doesn't honestly relate. But in this case, what I find brilliantly fascinating is that your art is literally imitating your life. It's, the underdog story, and, the guy who, doesn't necessarily get the opportunities, but, here's a big shot. What can I do with it? And it's just fascinating to me that you've been able to harness that into a story, and that's wonderful. Is there something about making a movie that you never, like, you couldn't have ever imagined, whether positive or negative, that you've encountered in this experience?
Well, here's a quick answer. I got Rob Van Dam to get in a dumpster for something that I wrote. That's the fucking coolest thing ever. Like, no disrespect, obviously, but like,
yeah, no.
We got former WWE Women's Champion Victoria to pop into this thing willy-nilly because she was just hanging. Like, I invited her, and I was like, "Yo, Rob and Katie are in town." We had done a couple shows together and stuff, but sure. We weren't friends, even though we both live in San Diego. And I was like, "Hey, I know you live downtown. We're shooting downtown. Rob and Katie are going to be here. We're shooting a movie. We'd love to pop you in." And she became a part of it. Katie Forbes became a part of it. And so many wrestlers, independent wrestlers over here from SoCal, Mariachi Loco, Julio Cholo are in the movie, Slice Boogie, the Ringworms, Blake Troop is in the movie, Ryan Kidd's in the movie, Miranda Alizé's in the movie, some of my students are in the movie. So like, man, just like, dude, make it like, to see how many people have taken the time to interview me, do research about this stuff, and listen to all this that I'm talking, or like or share anything. Yeah, we're only at about 10% of our goal, 2 weeks, a third of the way into this thing. Am I happy with that? I'm very grateful that everybody donated. Am I satisfied with that? Probably not. I'm never going to be satisfied with most things, though. So, but to see how many people have done this, from me basically being an absolute nobody in the world of wrestling, and nobody in the world of film, nobody in the world of comedy, and to see how many people that this has impacted, to just give them a laugh, like, so far. I know this is the very beginning of the journey. I know this film's going to get done. I know we're going to keep making films, and I'm not going to stop until I do that. That's the type of person that I am. So what this movie has really taught me is that don't give up on your dreams. If you have a plan and you're willing to admit when your failures happen and you understand how to reconfigure shit and jump back at it a different way, if you're a solutions problem, not a guy that has a problem for every solution, if you're a fucking roadblock jumper, then fucking go for that shit, because you're made differently. Seeing people that inspire me now, younger than me, my same age, around the same thing, is that I make sure to take my time to point out the people that have that go-getter, that it factor. And what that it factor is almost blind self-confidence that, hey man, and you're open-headed enough to fucking be able to adapt, to be self-aware, to, hey man, I might not put off a vibe that I'm a sensitive and thoughtful person that is very conscious of a lot of his decisions, but that is who I am. So, I don't know, making this movie has made me realize and made me appreciate the relationships that I built, and it really made me appreciate being a promoter that started 14 years ago, that by the end of the show, nobody wanted to be around me because I was such an awful person to work around, to being able to overcome those obstacles by being self-aware, by listening to people, and by fixing relationships. Like, that has shown me that anybody can grow no matter what your situation is at. You're not destined to your past, and that doesn't have to be your future. As long as you're ready to adapt and reconfigure your fucking plan, you can accomplish anything in your life. Straight up.
That's well said. Very well said. So if people want to donate, I know you guys are doing Indiegogo, which is great, because any money that comes in, it's literally coming in to you guys. It's not going to end up, sitting or going somewhere else, whatever. It's going straight to you guys. What ways can fans potentially help? Is there a place they can go, what they can look up? Is there a contact you can give them if, let's say, they want to give you more than, a few bucks and, make a bigger contribution? Where can fans turn to help you out?
Well, like you said, we wear very, very many hats here. So I'm connected to all the social media, my own, for the movie, the whole thing. It's basically Pablo, myself, and my wife as a 3-person team rocking the shit out of all this promotion for this film. Not that the rest of the cast and crew aren't helping. It's that this is our project, this is our baby, and we have the most invested in this. So of course, We're going to be the cheerleaders out there. So it's very easy to find us. A Pro Rasslin Movie, not pro wrestling. Pro wrestling is a term very endearing to me, and it shows what I love about wrestling, is that it can be fun, goofy, wacky, wild. This is Pablo and I's love letter to the wild, wacky world of professional wrestling. We plan on being a franchise of films similar to National Lampoon's that are all centric on wrestling, because wrestlers have so much talent that they need to show outside of the ring. So, if you want to donate, if you want to find us, if you want to watch the trailer, all that's fine. Share it, send it, whatever. ProRasslingMovie.com, at all social media at Pro Rasslin Movie. This has been such a trip to do it, to learn on the fly. And you know what's going to be probably the most amazing thing out of all of this at the end of this is that a micro budget film in Hollywood, like a Seth Rogen comedy, a micro budget is $1 to $2 million. By the end of this thing, by the time it's said and done, we will have completed a full 80-minute feature-length film for around $100,000. And hopefully we're not just going to make an impact in the pro wrestling world like we anticipate. I hope we're going to make an impact in the indie film world, that if you make the right connections, if you get with the right people, if you plan accordingly, you can make a full-length feature film for under $100,000. And that could seriously rock the independent film world. So being able to to possibly do that. And I say possibly because there always is that potential chance that we won't finish this thing, but not with us involved. Not on my watch, goddammit. So, we're going to get it done. People can find us at prorasslinmovie.com. Really easy to find us. # Dirty Ron Movie. I'm sure if you search Dirty Ron Movie or Rasslin Movie, it's really easy to find.
I don't know if we should encourage people to search Dirty Ron Movie, because there might be some.
I don't know, man. The hole goes deep on Dirty Ron. Let me tell you.
As I wrap up here, let me ask you. Being a Blues fan and having finally seen the Blues win a cup. I know
you've had a hockey team for 2 years over here. Okay, calm down. In Vegas, I know you're a Chicago guy. And you're gonna give me shit. I'll deserve it. I gotta come. Go ahead.
No. Actually, I'm not gonna give you shit. I'm gonna go kind of the opposite way, because I know how you felt. Having the Blackhawks. I mean, it was great to see them win 3, but that first one is like just unreal.
It was.
Now, being you're a hockey fan, being that you're a wrestler, and being that you're now a movie maker, are you thinking about maybe making a hockey / fight film, and I don't know, starring maybe a couple Ballard brothers?
So that's a great pitch right there, straight up. The possibilities are endless. We've talked about a horror film, we've talked about a Christmas film, we've talked about the Dirty Ron being a trilogy. But out of all of those, there are 2 films that I want to make more than that. And I don't really want to I haven't said anything about them because I don't want nobody stealing these ideas. But dude, once this thing's done, the possibilities are endless. I'm working with a fucking phenomenal casting crew that I plan on working with on the reg. Like, we're gonna have these people in regular rotation. These are my homies. I've always been under the principle that I'd much rather be loved by 10 people than liked by 100,000 people. So my search on this planet has been to find my people. And it's taken me 37 years so far. I found the right one for me. Our wedding rings are tattooed ECW 1995 ring ropes right there. All right. 1995 ECW ring ropes, not just ECW, 1995 ECW, the best year of ECW, the best year of any promotion ever. But, honestly, I'm getting high and I forgot where I was going with that, but,
you and me both. No, I think that.
Oh, you gotta find your people. Your people. And I found my people. I run a little wrestling school over here in San Diego with Ryan Kidd. And we do things totally different. We have 6-month programs, and our angle to it is like the community college of professional wrestling. Are we trying to get everybody that comes in? Are we trying to make them the next WWE superstar? Absolutely not. We're trying to show people that, hey, man, there are other ways to be involved in wrestling in a weekend warrior type of thing. Stay local. Learn how to have a match. Wrestling's difficult, right? To be a WWE superstar is difficult. But in order to entertain people and put on a show, as long as you get trained properly to entertain and to put on a show properly, and that's what we're doing down here. And, it took me 20 years as a wrestler to be confident in my own abilities to try to teach anybody anything about this. I haven't been anywhere. The business has passed me by in the sense of my style. So I was scared to be any sort of a trainer, but working with Ryan Kidd, who's worldwide traveled, wrestled on almost every continent, I believe, except Antarctica, as his diversity and his style of training is incredible. So making wrestlers and teaching wrestlers, like it's amazing. And it's a totally new facet for myself as well. It's brand new. But we just graduated our first 6-month class. Now they're moving on to the intermediate class. We got to try out next Sunday. And I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be more proud of all the things that we're taking chances with. we're finding some success with, and hopefully we continue to do that.
That's awesome, man. I encourage anyone who's watching or listening, please, just support. This is the best thing you could also do at this time, with such a weird year that we've had, to show your support for people who have entertained you. And also, by giving to this, you're also advancing more entertainment. So it would be just spectacular if people could just reach out and donate just a little something. Especially, hey, you all might have stimulus checks coming in.
Oh, I've heard about this.
Put 10.
I heard about that stimmy. And that them tax returns coming in. That was the hardest thing for me with all this, is that I haven't ever really had to ask for a favor or a loan or anything. So it's odd. It's an odd feeling for me to have to ask for help for anything. And I don't even know the right way to be like, hey, can you hook me up with, it's, hey, will you donate to my thing? It's like, man, I'm not dying, I'm not sick, well, what are you doing? You're donating to make my dreams come true, basically. But I hope people see this as what we're trying to do with that, and whether they donate, cool. Not it's not necessary. It'd be awesome. But sharing it, liking it, watching it, showing it to somebody else who might like it, whether you even tell them to donate, who cares? Like, just show it to them. We're going to get this thing out there. And when we're done we're not streaming it. You're not going to see it in theaters. We're taking this fucking show on the road. I'm taking a couple of the wrestlers from the movie. I'm taking a couple of comedians from the movie, and we're going town to town, working with local independent wrestling promoters to screen our movie, do live Q&As, have a live show, meet and greets. You'll see a lot of the props from the movie. We're taking this thing on the road, we're taking the show on the road. And because we hope to bring it to the people that help support this movie or wanted to see it. Pro wrestling is a very supportive community. It's a community that I've given my entire life to. And the reason I'm confident that it's going to work no matter what is because I've always known if you like pro wrestling, I like you. And that's how a lot of pro wrestling fans feel, is that we've been shunned or put in the back burner. And I don't know if I was popular or a dork or a jock or whatever. I played some sports, I had friends, whatever, who cares? But I was a wrestling fan, and I got shit for that. So, if you don't like wrestling, well, kiss my ass. It's the best form of live entertainment there is. And I proved that with Fist Combat. We don't put on shows for wrestling fans. We're not getting this is wrestling. We don't get that shit here, because that's not who we're giving a show to. I want to show everybody how cool wrestling is. So our shows are very digestible for the common person. On our flyers, it says, get drunk and heckle, because we want you to get drunk, come in, give you somebody to boo, give you somebody to love, put on 6 matches, in and out in 2 hours, have a fucking show, and go have a beer with us afterwards. Let's have fun. Let's see some fucking wild shit. Some dudes getting thrown through tables or on barbed wire, or thumbtacks or something, or we have a great smorgasbord of a show. We have some of that, yay boo fucking leg slap shit. We got some of the fucking goofy aliens from all over the galaxy. We got some fucking dipshits that live in a garbage can, and we got a cocaine snorting clown. What more could you want?
Well, on that note, I think that sums it up very well. Continued success on this journey, man. Again, people, check it out, spread it, just make it go viral, and hopefully the next film will be a follow-up, who knows who the next star we might see in a Dirty Ron film. See, that it's like a Dirty Harry film, a Dirty Ron film. It works.
I appreciate that. And you know what? Honestly, you don't know. And I'm going to keep it like that, because we have a bunch more cameos here when we get on this second round of filming that are going to surprise some people. You're just seeing the tip of the iceberg, we're learning on our feet. We learn on our feet on set. That's why we got to shoot some more. We're learning on our feet on fundraising for this thing. So we're going to have to do some more, I'm sure, you know, like, but a week ago, after the first 5 days of this thing, I was ready to break down. Like I was breaking down, and I had to just like look at myself in the mirror, tell myself I was scared. And that's not a comfortable feeling, and go, hey man, enjoy the ride. Like you got Rob Van Dam to get in a dumpster for something you wrote. Like you got Victoria to pop in on set, and she fucking like did this spot. If you see it in the trailer, where she like, you know, I fucking, I don't know. You have to see the trailer. You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil it. But you know, like all this shit's happened. Like me and Effy got the party for a couple days on set. You know, like just shoot this movie, dude. Like all of these people are coming together for something that I came up with out of my brain, and Pablo helped me turn into something, you know, worth sinking our teeth into. So like that's fucking amazing. It is, you know, like, and to enjoy the ride, you got to enjoy the ride. And that's what I'm doing now. So, you know, I'm not as scared anymore because I've seen how much what we've created has impacted people so far. So I know it's just a matter of time. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, that's fine. It'll happen the next day or the day after that. And that's the mentality you got to have. Solution finder.
And there we go. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Matt, thank you very much.